Hi, it's Angela here, and I'm just continuing on with this partnership with Beautify and the Health Style Emporium, sharing all of this wisdom with you about how to nourish yourself best. I want to share some information with you. Um, the Six Tastes of Ayurveda, I promised this in my last recording, and I am hoping to do a live next week because right now, the way it's set up in this Facebook group, I would need to have a breakout room. So I need to do a little more studying because maybe I'm just not understanding it, and that's definitely possible. So I just want to share my screen with you because I laid all of this out in a really lovely, easy, clean, informatic way for you to understand the six tastes of Ayurveda. So ideally, we have the six tastes um, in every meal that we eat. So if you can just imagine why this would be possible, if you were an ancestral human, and we still have the digestion of that ancestral human, of the hunter gatherer type of human, someone who would be walking most of the day, moving their bodies most of the day, and gathering things to eat. And if you were doing that, you most likely would experience all of these flavors. And in that regard, we are able to, with the six tastes, develop all of the enzymes that we need to have a fully functioning digestive tract. So when we eat bitter foods, sour foods, pungent foods, salty foods, and sweet foods, and oh, I'm missing one. Oh my God, astringent foods, we're able to have really impeccable digestion. This is actually the key to restoring your digestion. It can take a little bit of time, but after at least a season, and it may go a lot faster, but really a full season of eating like this can you actually come out of it being a different kind of a person. Your cellular structure has had most turnover in about 120 days. So that's amazing, right? So you have an opportunity to do that for yourself, and you could use this group as a way to guide you. So I'm going to be sharing that with you over the coming months. The six tastes of Ayurveda, I just want to share. It's so much fun. Oh my gosh. So I'm going to share this link with you and you can click through and read all of this. But bitter foods help us balance our digestion. It offers a purgative quality. So this is important for all digestive functions to be balanced. So purgative meaning that it allows the stomach to have a pulse and purge into the intestines, purging naturally with the flavors, the enzymes that are create that purgative quality, which is important. With carbohydrates, dull foods is what we call it in Ayurveda, and a lot of sugar at every meal, it's not really possible to clear the body systems with fresh bloods. And this is because of our digestive tissues. They get clogged up and are acting a little more inefficient as we age. But this can happen at every age. So if you see children with obesity, very common now in our culture, a lot of times it can be simply because they have a very dull diet. They're eating a lot of carbohydrates. Maybe it's fried food, maybe it's stuff from a box, maybe it is sweets. Those are very dull to the system. It doesn't offer that purgative and clearing quality. So adding some bitter foods like these can be really helpful. Dandelion greens. The flowers of dandelions are good. Artichokes, parsley, thyme, oregano, lemongrass, ginger, turmeric. Really, really wonderful foods to add to your diet. And I'm going to show you all of them here. The other important, so bitter and sour are the two key that are very commonly not included in the North American diet. Sour develops the enzymes throughout the digestive tract. So sour is the taste that gets our mouths watering when we eat something that's lemony or lime flavored, orange. It's sweet, but it has a sourness to it as well. It offers this moistness that moves into the digestive tract, and the enzymes are housed in the saliva that we create. So this is typical of who's hungry to salivate, right? Like sometimes you even see that in like a cartoon or in just general idea of salivation. Sour foods are typical and can be confused with pungent, actually. Some people think, I've heard children say that lemons are spicy, and it's just that forwardness of the feeling in the mouth. Sour foods are best loved with a balance of sweet, and here is a short list of foods with sour or sweet and sour overlapping flavors, like pomegranate. They're a little bit sour, a little bit sweet. Citrus, limes, orange, a little bit sour, a little bit sweet. Vinegar can also be sweet, like balsamic. Wine, tamarind. There are more. I'm going to keep adding to this list, but this is a little short list for you. And look at the beautiful lemons. Those are so wonderful. Those are wrapping up right now in January. Limes are fantastic, and we're lucky that we get them year round from Mexico. And then the sweet flavor, examples of sweet tastes. And these are things that include stuff that you aren't maybe aware of or ingredients that you're not aware of, like avocado, cilantro, licorice root, carrot. So when I'm talking about sweet taste, I'm talking about from natural foods. Anise has a sweetish flavor, sweet. What else can we think of? I love dates are sweet, prunes, fruit, you name it. We'll add to the list here. I wanted to add the unusual things for you to see. Basil is sweet. Dates, I just mentioned that. Sweet, very, very balancing to the body. It's great at pomegranates. I love it. Those are sweet and sour and astringent. Clearing foods like pomegranates can help to enliven the body's grooming cycle. So every spring, eating astringent foods help us to find balance in our digestion. The digestive tract is cleansed of gunk that might be built up in our system due to poor circulation. So that's what I was talking about before, that purgative quality. If you're not getting any bitter foods, you're not able to properly move stuff out of the body. So, bitter foods like kale and dandelion greens, what we just mentioned, those are so key to everything that we eat. It's really, really important. But clearing foods are really great too in certain quantity, especially during the spring and in the fall when we do a fall cleanse. But foods like these may overlap in their tastes, so you might notice this. It is nature, so everything overlaps. But this is a great list here: pomegranate, aloe vera, soaked chia seeds, clear and cleanse, celery, cranberries, apples, pears, also very sweet, probably thought of more as sweet as clearing, but also clearing. And lemongrass, ginger, spinach, beets. You get the picture. Green beans are a fun one, very clearing. So if you're eating those a lot in the winter, it can be helpful. But if you eat them a lot or too much, or it's the only vegetable that you eat, it's going to be too harsh on the system. The same with artichokes. You eat a bunch of artichokes in the winter, it's going to be too harsh on the system. We're not ready for that. Eating more of a winter squash offers the perfect amount of astringency, and winter squashes are included in here as well as sweet. So parsley is another good clearing food. And saltiness. Salty is a flavor that we all need. Root vegetables all carry a certain amount of saltiness to them, like a celery root, celery stalk too. is salty in nature, and carrots, beets, turnips, rutabagas, all of those things offer a saltiness because it's been in the ground, especially anything that grows below the ground that is has a root that's edible. Really, really wonderful saltiness. So if you eat all root vegetables, everything, all potatoes, it's probably a little bit too salty in your diet. So the salty things like sea salt and every salt falls under this term, salty, of course. But like I said, root vegetables are more forward in their dominant taste, but also salty. So, like I said, celery root, potatoes, beets, any root vegetable. And pungent. Pungent foods are really fun. Those are the ones that I love. So if you eat too much of them, you might find that you get inflammation. So you just want the right amount, and you can get it in a lot of different ways here that are not all about spice in particular, but pungency, like mushrooms, that funky nasal feeling that you get from mushrooms, really more exciting mushrooms opposed to the button mushrooms. That is a pungent flavor. Onion, garlic, leeks, all of the lilies here. Ginger, lemongrass, horseradish, very forward, that really pronounced in the nasal cavity. These are wonderful for clearing the body. So if you're someone who, again, has a dull diet, adding some pungent foods can be very powerful for your digestion, which means you're going to be able to slim down more easily. You're going to be able to lower inflammation. Following the guideline around adding a little bit of the 6 tastes of Ayurveda is going to cover your meal plans. So I hope you can enjoy this awareness. Let me know what you think. Are you aware of this? Is this a new thing for you, or is it something that you've never heard of? I'll be sharing more about this in the coming weeks because I'm going to offer some cleansing recipes and ways that you can invite cleansing into your diet. A good rule of thumb is once you see dandelion greens growing around you, you see the dandelion, the weed, the greens growing around you. They may not be edible, so don't eat them, but you can buy them in the grocery store or from a nice food purveyor, CSA maybe. And when you notice the weeds in your yard, you've got the leaves. When you see the stalk for the flower, and the flower is a bud, and then when the flower blossoms, this is the time that you can stop your cleanse. So a cleanse that I'm talking about is about incorporating 6 tastes of Ayurveda, maybe adding a few more astringent foods to your diet, and maybe a few pungent foods. That's the key here. And I can't wait to share all of this with you. It'll be a fun experience for you if you haven't done this before. And I hope you have a great evening. I need to finish my dinner. Bye, bye, bye.